groaned as the fifth and final alarm rang loudly, pulling you from the depths of sleep. Despite the annoying sound, you stayed curled up in your blanket, too lazy to get up. Later, you took the phone from the nightstand without opening your eyes and turning it on. With a sleepy yawn, you unlocked the phone without even opening your eyes, your fingers moving on autopilot as they tapped on the Instagram app. When you finally opened your eyes, your heart skipped a beat. There he was, the one person who could make your morning instantly better. Good morning, Jungkook, you whispered, your eyes glued to the screen. You couldn't help but blush as you admired how effortlessly handsome he looked, even while drenched in sweat. Jungkook, your brother's best friend, he had just posted something new on his account and your face lit up with a smile. Your heart fluttered as you watched his morning gym routine, his muscles flexing as he lifted weights, his hair slightly messy and sweat glistening on his forehead. How can you look so good even when you are sweating? You murmured to yourself, biting your lip. Your finger hovered over the screen and you quickly liked his story, feeling a little thrilled as you did. You couldn't stop yourself from scrolling through his older posts, the ones you had seen 1,000 times before. Each picture brought you back memories, times when he was at your house, laughing with your brother, or just sitting quietly in the corner, looking so effortlessly cool. I wish I could go to the gym with you like those Instagram couples. You sighed dreamily, your thoughts drifting off. We would be such a good pair, lifting weights together, motivating each other. You were completely lost in your little fantasy, a shy smile spreading across your face as you imagined what it would be like. Suddenly, a voice cut through your daydreams. Checking your phone right after waking up? Typical. You jumped, startled, and quickly put your phone down as if you were caught doing something wrong. Your heart raced and you turned to see your brother Taehyung standing in the doorway with an amused smirk on his face. Papa, you scared me, you said trying to sound casual, but the blush on your cheeks betrayed you. Taehyung chuckled walking into your room. What were you looking at? You seemed pretty focused. You avoided his eyes feeling embarrassed. Nothing important, just catching up on some post. He raised an eyebrow, clearly not convinced. Right? So which posts are more important than getting out of bed on time? You huffed, trying to change the subject. Don't you have anything better to do than spy on me in the morning? He grinned, crossing his arms. Well, I was going to ask if you wanted breakfast, but it seems like you are more interested in Instagram. You roll your eyes, swinging your legs off the bed and standing up. Okay, okay, I'm coming. No need to tease me. After Taehyung left your room, you sat there for a moment, lost in thought, but then you remembered Jungkook was coming to your college today for a photo shoot. That gave you the push you needed. You quickly got up and headed to the bathroom, eager to start your day. Once out of the shower, you wrapped a towel around yourself and walked over to your closet. Your fingers brushed past several outfits before stopping at the dress Jungkook had given you for your birthday last year. It was a beautiful dress, one you had saved for a special occasion. You slipped into the dress, feeling its soft fabric hug your figure perfectly. You looked in the mirror and smiled slightly, like what you saw. You look gorgeous, Wine. Today Jungkook might not take his eyes off of you. After drying your hair and applying a bit of makeup, you carefully applied your favorite shade of lipstick, the final touch. You took one last look in the mirror, smoothing down the dress and fixing your hair before heading downstairs. As soon as you stepped into the dining room, you were met with surprised look from both your mother and Taehyung. Your brother's eyes widened and he almost dropped his spoon. Mom, look at this. She never likes to wear new clothes and now she's all dressed up, he said, pointing at you with a mixture of shock and confusion. Your mother raised an eyebrow, clearly as surprised as your brother. She put down the newspaper she was reading and gave you a curious look. What? Are you going on a date? She asked, half joking but with genuine curiosity in her voice. You roll your eyes, trying to play it cool despite the slight blush creeping up your neck. I don't have any such thoughts or plan, you replied, casually walking over to the table. I just worried because, well, why not? Do you have any problem with that? You added the last part with a bit of serious tone, giving them both a pointed look. Taehyung and your mother exchanged quick glances before they both shook their heads vigorously, curling up their lips as they tried to hide their smiles. Good, you sighed dramatically and sat across the table. You served spaghetti in your plate and searched for ketchup but didn't find it there, so you got up and walked towards the kitchen. Huff, I'm safe. They didn't get any doubt on me, else if they know I love Jungkook, I don't know what the situation would be. Shook your head in relief. You returned and were enjoying your breakfast, where your Taeyong was looking at you a little suspiciously, but you acted cool to not give them a chance to doubt you. As you were eating, enjoying the rare, peaceful morning, something went wrong. A piece of spaghetti suddenly got stuck in your throat, and you started choking, coughing violently. Panic washed over you as you struggled to breathe. You tried to force down the food. Just when you thought things couldn't get worse, you suddenly felt a strong yet gentle hand patting your head, guiding a glass of water to your lips. Here, drink this, a familiar voice said urgently. You blinked through your watering eyes, and to your utter shock, there stood Jungkook right beside you. His intense gaze was full of concern as he tilted the glass, helping you drink. The cool water soothed your throat, and you finally managed to swallow, but the surprise of seeing Jungkook so close made you choke once again. You coughed violently, your eyes wide with shock. This time Jungkook's worry was evident. Are you okay? He asked, his voice filled with panic as he gently patted your back. You quickly waved your hand, trying to signal that you were fine. After a few more coughs, you finally managed to calm down, breathing heavily but feeling much better. You looked up at him, still in disbelief that he was standing there. Sam, who had been frozen in surprise, finally found his voice. Jungkook, what a sudden surprise! You didn't tell us you were coming. Jungkook smiled slightly, but his eyes remained on you, as if he was making sure you were truly okay. I thought of surprising you, he replied, his tone lightening a bit. It's been quite a long time since we met. He said the words to Taehyung, but his gaze was still locked on you. Feeling flustered under his intense stare, he quickly looked away, your heart racing. Why is he looking at me like that? You wondered, your mind spinning. Your mother, who had been watching the whole scene unfold, finally spoke something. Jungkook had some breakfast with us, she offered warmly. Jungkook hesitated for a second but then nodded, giving in to her request. Sure, I would love to have Mom. He agreed, pulling out a chair and sitting down across from you. As the four of you continued to eat, you couldn't help but feel Jungkook's gaze on you. It was as if his eyes were drawn to you, and no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't escape his attention. You peeked up at him once, and your breath caught in your throat. He wasn't just looking at you, he was admiring you, his eyes filled with an emotion. Why is he staring at me? He is liking me? You quickly shook your head, as you don't want to have hopes on him, as you know he is celebrity and it will be tough for you. Jungkook, why did it take you 10 days to meet me? I thought you were avoiding me, he joked, grinning at his best friend. Jungkook chuckled, finally tearing his eyes away from you to look at Taehyung. Hectic schedule, man. Modeling isn't an easy job, he said, running a hand through his hair. Being a top model and popular for my music, I'm getting so many opportunities and I just got really busy. Taehyung nodded, a proud smile spreading across his face. I never expected my friend would become a celebrity. I'm genuinely happy for you, Jungkook. You deserve all the success. Jungkook smiled back, clearly touched by Taehyung's words. Thanks, Tae. That means a lot coming from you, he said, reaching over to give his best friend a light punch. As they shared a laugh, you quietly watched them, feeling a mix of emotions. You were happy for Jungkook's success, but a part of you couldn't help but feel a little sad. He was leaving his room while you were just here struggling to find your place. But then, as if sensing your thoughts, Jungkook's gaze returned to you. This time there was softness in his eyes, a silent reassurance that made your heart flutter once again. You quickly looked away, focusing on your food, but you couldn't stop the small smile that crept onto your lips. After finishing the breakfast, you asked Taehyung, "Okay, shall we go? Else I will be late to the college." I'm sorry, Van. I'm going in another route today. I have an urgent client meeting. Can you go by bus? You quickly twisted your lips in disappointment, but soon your face was enlightened when Jungkook said something. Don't worry, Tae. I'm going on her college route. If you don't have a problem, I will drop her. Thanks, man. You saved me, else she will taunt me for 2 weeks for making her go on bus. I quickly stopped his laugh as he glared at your brother. Shall we go, Ryan? Your composure quickly becomes soft as you were excited and also nervous to go in his car. It was not new, but every time you will travel with Dong along with them. You walked first and he followed you behind with a teasing smile. By seeing his body language, we can say he is mesmerized with your outfit and beauty. You and Jungkook got into his car, the hum of the engine breaking the initial silence. As he started driving towards your university, you couldn't help but notice how quiet it was inside the car. The only sound was the faint music playing on the radio, but even that did little to ease the tension you felt. You glanced over at Jungkook, catching him quickly looking away as if he had been watching you. Your heart skipped a beat and the silence grew more. To your surprise, Jungkook was the one to break it. "Ryan, you're looking like a princess in that dress," he said softly, his voice filled with genuine attention. He felt your cheeks heat up and a smile tugged at your lips as you blushed furiously. His words made you feel like you were floating on cloud nine. "Thank you, Jungkook," you replied, trying to keep your voice steady, though you could barely contain your excitement. A few more minutes passed in silence, and you decided to ask the question that had been on your mind since breakfast. "I heard you're going to do a shoot at our college today. What time it is?" Jungkook sighed slightly, his eyes briefly glancing at you before returning to the road. "Yeah, that was the plan, but it got cancelled because of some issues. Maybe next time." You were disappointed, so "my outfit is wasted," you thought sadly, the excitement from earlier fading. He said as if reading your mind quickly reassured you. "Don't worry, Van, your outfit wasn't wasted. For whom you wore it they noticed." You were shocked and looked at him like, "How do you know?" But he just passed his smiles. As you neared the college, Jungkook suddenly reached for a mask, pulling it over his face. You watched him feeling a bit disappointed. "I wish he would take off the mask so everyone could see him dropping me off. It would make me feel so special," you thought wistfully. To your utter shock, Jungkook removed the mask almost immediately as if he had heard your thoughts again. "Okay, anything for my princess," he said with a playful grin. You blinked stunned. "Did you just?" He chuckled at your expression, clearly enjoying your surprise. "What, did you think I couldn't read your mind, Wine?" he teased, his eyes crinkling with amusement. You shook your head, still trying to process how he seemed to know exactly what you were thinking. Before you knew it, the car slowed down, approaching the entrance of your college. You opened the door and stepped out, still dazed from everything that had happened. Just as you were about to walk away, Jungkook rolled down the window. "Bye, Wine," he called out, his voice drawing the attention of everyone nearby. You turned around, your eyes widening, as you saw several students near the gate staring at you, some even pulling out their phones to take pictures or videos. You quickly waved back at Jungkook, trying to hide your nervousness, and then hurried inside the gate. As you walked into the building, you could feel everyone's eyes on you, whispering and staring. A small smile played on your lips as you realized just how special Jungkook had made you feel. 2 days later, you were heading downstairs when you noticed Taehyung in the living room, tearing open a few packages with a big grin on his face. Curiosity got the best of you, and you walked over, leaning against the banister. "What's all this?" you asked, watching as you pulled out some new clothes and gear. Taehyung glanced up at you, raising an eyebrow. "For my trip with my friends," he replied casually. "Trip?" you repeated, rolling your eyes dramatically. "Boring. All your friends are boring candidates." Taehyung paused, raising his eyebrow at your remark. a teasing smile forming on his lips. Before he could respond, his phone rang. He looked at the screen and his smile widened. Ah, it's Jungkook. Your heart skipped a beat at the mention of his name. He stood there silently, trying to act casual as he listened in the conversation. Hey Jungkook, he greeted his friend cheerfully. Yeah, I'm packing everything and talked to the driver. Everything is set now. You blinked, processing what Taehyung had just said. Jungkook's going on trip too. Suddenly the idea of the trip didn't seem too boring after all. Once Taehyung hung up the call, he couldn't hold back any longer. Taehyung, can I come on trip too? You asked, trying to sound as nonchalant as possible. He looked at you smirking. Didn't you just say it was boring? You bit your lower lip, realizing your mistake. I was just kidding. Come on, please. I will be good, I promise. You pleaded, giving him your best puppy eyes. Taehyung hesitated for a moment, but the sight of you practically begging made him crack. He sighed and rolled his eyes. Fine, fine, but don't annoy anyone, okay? You didn't need to hear anything else. Thank you, he squealed, jumping up and down before rushing to your room to pack your bags. The next morning you were buzzing with excitement as you headed out to where the van was parked. Taehyung's friends, including Jungkook, were already waiting. Yo, Tae, you're late bro. His friend started making sounds while Tae was smiling at their teasing. Just then you came forward from behind him and surprised everyone, but for one, it was shocking. As soon as Jungkook saw you approaching, his smile flattered and you noticed immediately. The sight of his expression caused confusion, but you stayed positive. Good morning, everyone. You greeted, trying to keep your voice cheerful. Jungkook barely acknowledged you, and your heart sank a little more. Everyone started getting into the van, but just as you were about to settle into your seat, you overheard Taehyung and Jungkook talking outside, right by the window next to where you were sitting. Why did you bring your sister on this trip, Tae? His voice was low but frustrated, making you freeze. She requested me, bro, he replied, his tone defensive. I couldn't say no to her. Didn't you know this was supposed to be a friends only trip, not a family thing? He asked, clearly annoyed. You felt a lump forming in your throat as their words sank in. So he really didn't want me here? You thought. Your earlier excitement was now replaced with disappointment. You slumped back in your seat, staring out the window as the van started moving. The conversations around you faded into the background as you replayed Jungkook's words in your mind. After Taehyung finished his conversation with Jungkook, he stepped into the van and took a seat beside one of his friends. Just then Jungkook followed, stepping inside with a smile on his face, as if nothing had happened. His cheerful expression made your heart ache because his earlier voice still stung. You quickly looked away, avoiding eye contact with him. You couldn't bring yourself to smile back, not after what you had overheard. Jungkook, noticing your cold response, hesitated for a moment, but then silently came to your seat and sat beside you. Good morning, Ryan. He greeted you warmly. You only hummed in response, a barely audible not even bothering to look at him. The coldness in your tone was enough to make him suspicious, but he chose to let it slide for now. As the van started moving towards the destination, Jungkook kept glancing at you, noticing how moody you seemed. You had your earphones in, completely absorbed in your music, and you didn't even glance in his direction. Jungkook could sense something was off. Normally you would be chatting away with him, but today you were distant and ignoring him. After a while, Jungkook decided to try and cheer you up. He reached into his bag and pulled out your favorite chocolate, hoping it would make you smile. Wine, he called out, his voice gentle. You didn't respond, lost in your music. Jungkook frowned slightly, then gently patted your shoulder to get your attention. You finally looked at him, eyes questioning, and Jungkook with a hopeful smile held up the chocolate. Do you want some chocolate? He asked, his eyes twinkling with excitement. To his surprise, you shook your head, refusing the offer. Jungkook's smile dropped. You never said no to his chocolate, not ever. But today something was different. He didn't push it though and quietly put the chocolate back in his pocket, the mood between you both growing more tense. Jungkook tried again to start a conversation, hoping to figure out what was bothering you. So excited about the trip? He asked, keeping his tone light. You just nodded slightly, not offering any more than that. You didn't want to talk, didn't want to engage, not after hearing how he didn't want you to on this trip. Jungkook's attempts at conversation felt hollow to you now, and all you could think about was how unwanted you felt. He was hurt by your coldness. He couldn't understand why you were suddenly avoiding him. As you all reach the destination, you all are getting down the van. Jungkook stepped down before you and extending his hand for you, but instead you asked, "Hey, your brother's self," and got down where he felt disappointed and left from there. You, Taehyung and Jungkook came to the room as a guy sharing one room while others were sharing another room. Guys, I'm going to have a long shower. Don't disturb me, okay? He said and left where Jungkook was looking at you for any sign to talk to you. But you silently kept your luggage there and went to the balcony to have a look at the view. Wine, he called you softly, but you didn't respond, as if you didn't hear him. He sighed and came to you and stood beside you, but you didn't pay any attention to him. Wine, this is not going to happen with me. I want to talk to you right now. What do you want to talk? Are you going to ask why I came here for the trip? I'm sorry, Mr. Jungkook. I don't know this is your friend's trip. I don't know you don't like me coming here. You said popping the bubble as you can't stay silent anymore. Then Jungkook sighed and looked at you. So you heard what I talked with Tae? You looked away while crossing your arms. Okay, listen, I'm sorry. I hurt you unknowingly, but my intention was something. Do you know I planned this trip to send Taehyung away from you? You were shocked with his words and looked at him. What? It's been so long since I spent time with you. I thought of surprising you, taking you to your favorite beach and proposing there. But now, more than that, I want you to talk to me. It doesn't make sense. Why are you in the trip then? I thought of lying to them saying I had some project and dropping in the middle of traveling. If Tay is at home, he will not send you anywhere at night. That's why I talked like that with him earlier in frustration. So you're saying you are going to propose me, but why? He asked while poking your cheek. Because I love you, Wine. Then you smiled and said something winking at him. I love you too, Jungkook. He was surprised and shook his head in disbelief. So you want me to say it first, naughty girl? It twirled you and pulled you into a hug. What's happening here? Am I dreaming? He rubbed his eyes as he was shocked to see you both hugging. Jungkook, what's happening here? Thank you for watching.